Hello, I'm Cassandra Joan Butler. I'm an astrologer and healer and teacher. And if you're new to my channel, please like it, please subscribe. And today I wanted to offer you some ways to navigate the last two eclipses of 2020. 2020, the year of transformation. Yes, I do believe everyone alive here will never be the same after 2020. It's much more than the virus crisis. It's much more than an election. It's much more than protests and racial inequalities. It truly is the year of an awakening of sorts. And of course, astrology reflects that on every level. So I am offering this particular video to you today within exactly 12 hours of the lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Gemini. And I'm going to speak briefly also on the solar eclipse on Sagittarius's point, Sagittarius 23, that takes place on December 14th. So the nature of eclipses are simply, not really simply, but the eclipses work in two ways. They provide a backdrop for all of us in the collective unconscious. They are like the story behind everything that's going on. They're the whisperings of the issue of the day, the zeitgeist of the times, and they change approximately every 1.5 years. We go into a new type of feeling in the backstory. This particular eclipse cycle in 2020, we moved into the sign of Gemini and Sagittarius. We had a big eclipse, lunar eclipse on June 4th and 5th of this past year. And so this pairing is the first of Gemini, Sagittarius, Sagittarius and Gemini. And it's all about our mind, finding the truth, and data collection. So I don't know about you, but my mind is rather fried from so much of the information I've been processing in 2020. And so at the moment of the eclipses, it's as if a portal opens for resolution and change. So I'm going to give you some hints on how to navigate. And if you are interested in a lot more personal information, I do hold frequent Zoom classes online. You can go to my website, www.cassandrajoanbutler.com, for a full listing of classes, because I'm going to be extraordinarily busy in the next 2 months, providing you the service of what to look forward to in 2021, and also how to integrate the lessons and the healings of 2020. As challenging as this year has been, it also has provided us an opportunity, I hope, in your case, certainly in my case, to go within and to set our perfect and our true and our essential priorities. It's been a time of great aloneness for many of us, even if we have been sheltering or positioning ourselves in place with a family, we still have been going inside our own self to do great healing. That's thanks to Chiron in the sign of Aries, but more on that at another time. I just want to give you a little snippet about how to navigate November 30th and December 14th. So I am going to bring in a brief PowerPoint for you. And so let's see, view from beginning. And there we go. So please visit me at my website. Please sign in with my email list, and you'll be receiving lots of information, not just now, but hopefully forever in the future. I will be sending lots of information for you. So this is the lunar eclipse. Takes place, I have it standard time, Eastern Standard Time. Please make the adjustment for your time zone. November 30th at 4:30 in the morning. And what is an eclipse? An eclipse is when one of the two lights disappear. And spiritually or symbolically, it's almost as if the light is gone. There's a sense of being shaken up. The ancients were absolutely mesmerized by eclipses, and some of the astrological meanings today still follow suit. That often the light of the tribe or the kingdom begins to dim and then reappears in a new form. So if you are new to astrology, please find your chart somewhere. I have a little bit of an app on my personal website, but there's tons of wonderful astrologers out there who offer the astrological charting service for free. Try to discover where you have 8 degrees of Gemini. That's where the light goes out, and that's where the light will recover. And what that means is Moon in Gemini is the mindfulness. Our minds have been bombarded in 2020, no matter who you are or where you live, with so much contradictory information about everything, because the social media and our news media outlets have been going through a crisis concurrent with Gemini and Sagittarius. So one of the biggest issues of 2020 is, what is the truth? How to find the truth? Where do I dig down and find legitimate information that's true? And this particular eclipse, there's the moon, there's the sun. Of course, a full moon means the sun and the moon are opposite to each other. That's called an opposition, 180 degrees away from each other. The sun and the moon are this position, right? 8 degrees, 8 degrees. The eclipse path, the nodes, which are the astronomical workings which create the visual of an eclipse, are at 20 degrees, and Neptune, the planet of intuition, compassion, psychicism, and confusion, are squaring or forming a 90-degree angle to this eclipse and to this nodal pattern. Translation: we need to trust our intuition. We need to trust our compassion, our heart, to see in the dark, so to speak. We can't just take words and words and words. And Neptune is the archetype of the sea, of water, of compassion, the universal solvent. So my suggestion to you, within 24 hours of the November 30th eclipse, use the water element to cleanse, relax, and release your pressure, your tension, the cognitive wonderings and musings that may be causing a lot of distress. And even if you are not actively pursuing reading and listening to the outer world of media, it's more than likely that in your own home, in your own environment, in your Gemini place, you are feeling the stress and strain of many, many, many different demands, many demands. So use the power of water and meditation, and perhaps reach out and receive a healing from someone. Prayer. Do Neptune in order to quell the cognitive dissonance of this particular eclipse. In the Vedic Hindu tradition, they suggest we don't eat during the eclipse within hours of it. And they also strongly suggest that people shower. It's a cleansing portal. So do whatever you can to release and relax the mind and body through specifically the element of water. So this particular eclipse is very, very interesting, because what it is foretelling us, or telling us, we've got Venus in Scorpio, and she's in conjunct the moon. And in conjunct is an aspect of irreconcilable differences. The two signs are not really connecting in any real fashion. So love and money, because Venus represents both, is seemingly elusive as it's connecting with the moon in Gemini. So please let go of disappointments regarding your relationships this past year, financial setbacks, or fears about both. All right, that's a very good mindfulness type of suggestion for you. The other thing that's going on with this eclipse is that we're in the last path of the great Capricorn lineup of 2020 January, we've got Jupiter, which means big. We've got Pallas Athena, which means, among other things, jobs and work, next to Saturn, which means limitation. Yes, many, 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 many businesses across the globe are now being limited by authorities, right? Shutdowns all over the place. Keep the faith. Observe how you're feeling after the eclipse for illumination about what the next step is. Because Gemini, in the sign of the full moon lunar eclipse, it will actually provide us, I call it downloads. As you're driving around or doing your daily activities, all of a sudden you'll get an aha thought. Maybe I can do that to turn my life around in the real world, to embody my ideas. Some new goals or suggestions will come to you more easily after the full moon eclipse. Now, if you're seeing this particular video before 4:30 a.m. November 30th, you may actually be feeling a lot more tension than normal. I was talking to several of my dear friends and clients today, and they were saying they're literally having problems breathing because Gemini rules the lungs. Gemini rules cognition. One of the best things is to meditate throughout the next 24 hours with this particular eclipse. Relax, release, and let go. Do the deep breathing, hold the breath, and let go as much as possible. Now, every degree on our wheel has what's called a spiritual representation called a sabian symbol. And I'm quoting here from the wonderful Linda Hill, who modernized a lot of the sabian symbols that were brought to us by Mark Edmund Jones and Elsie Wheeler back in the early 1920s, 1928, I believe. Mark Edmund Jones, a fantastic minister, astrologer, and Elsie Wheeler, a very talented and dynamic medium. Even though her physical body was crippled with RA, she was a dynamic medium clairvoyant. They meditated together and they came up with these 360 word pictures. So the one for the full moon lunar eclipse is this: an archer filled with a quiver of arrows. And I'm quoting here Ms. Hill. How do you get to the heart of a matter? Make sure that your aim is true. Take a moment before firing off in the direction of your desires. Make adjustments if necessary, but keep your ultimate aim and goal in mind, because that's where your direction needs to be heading. So this eclipse is going to give us clarity with our immediate goals. And it's not the arrow that's shooting, it's the arrow that's in default at our beck and call if we need it. So we are in a defensive mode, but we know where we're going. Make a strategy, hit the target, being armed and ready, getting to the point, accuracy and strength, sending a message true and clear, skills and confidence, warriors. Be a spiritual warrior during this time. And realize that you have the marksmanship before you take aim on whatever goal you have. And to find that goal, identify where 8 degrees of Gemini falls in your chart. Meanwhile, on December 1st, Mercury goes into Sagittarius. Now, Mercury is what we call the ruling planet of Gemini. So Mercury is very important in this discussion. As Mercury goes into Sagittarius, and that exact moment is 2:56 p.m. on December 1st, that's Eastern Standard Time again, as it goes into Mercury and out of snoopy, secretive, emotional Scorpio, we become a little bit more optimistic after the 1st of December. So please pay attention to how you're feeling at that moment. We have the eclipse. The next day, we get into this idea of clarity in our thoughts and our visions. Then as we go forth, December 10th, we have Sun and Mercury and South Node all squaring Neptune. We might be collapsing into some confusion during this time, December 10th or so. Or we may be feeling very nostalgic, with missing and wishing for holidays of days past. One of the good things around December 10th, as we're heading towards the solar eclipse, of the 14th, this is called the balsamic time of the lunation cycle, it would be very, very good to recall and remember the spirit of seasons gone by, or anything. If you don't celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah, perhaps you celebrate the Yule or the solstice, but go back in your memory about times when things were more exciting and more loving and more stable, seemingly, because we are on the brink of some amazing and sometimes difficult great new eras. Finally, the eclipse of December 14th at 11:17 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, we are able to get our bearings. The lunar eclipse feels a little confusion, but we have to trust our heart, trust our intuition to get through it. This particular eclipse is solar. That means the sun disappears. This also coincides synchronistically with when the electoral delegates meet for the Electoral College in the United States' election. We will have a president completely certified and qualified, or not, on December 14th. This is a very big day. It coincides with the eclipse. The eclipse, by the way, is falling on the United States' first house of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the sign, my friends, of truth, liberty, freedom from religion, individuality, independence, and go back to that magic T word, truth. In any case, for all of us, identify where 24 degrees of Sagittarius falls in your chart. That is where you will be able to navigate a new beginning in your life. It's a welcoming. The symbol is beautiful. A bluebird, the sign of good luck and happiness, is standing at the door of the house. So we're through the threshold after this date of new beginnings. Find where that degree is in your chart. Create ways to create your own happiness through a Sagittarius avenue. This particular eclipse is trining Mars, which is going to give us the energy to move forward in our goals. This particular energy is also reconciling difficulties in personal relationships, because Juno, the inner wife or husband energy, is right next to love, which is Venus. So we're able to synthesize what we want and expect from a significant other and heal the old stuff that is preventing us from moving forward. Why? Because Venus and our beautiful Juno is absolutely talking to or opposite Black Moon Lilith. Look, at every single relationship has its qualifying difficulties, its lack of transparency, perceived lack of loyalty in different degrees, right? Our friend Black Moon Lilith unveils those for us at this eclipse. So it might be a new beginning or a new ending regarding one's relationship, one's significant emotional relationships. The other thing that's really telling about this particular eclipse, Venus and Juno are sextiling Saturn and Jupiter. So we're finally feeling a wave of optimism at this particular eclipse. We're stating our ground, stating our case, and moving forward. Keep that image in mind. The bluebird, a sign of good luck and happiness. During the solar eclipse, the same suggestions are offered to you. Do a lot of showering, do some fasting, and almost you want to repeat what you want to manifest. Now, what I want to offer to all of you who are listening, I'm going to be doing a free online meditation at this time on December 14th. So we can all collectively meditate together and ground and center and manifest our desires where you find 24 degrees of Sagittarius. If you don't know where it falls in your chart, I'll help you out. All right, friends. So I want to thank you for being here, and please tap into my charts and my other goodies on my website, CassandraJoanButler.com. And I wish for you a very, very beautiful and sacred eclipse season. And as we go forward, know that we are at the brink of an amazing new era. And that will be happening on December 21st, day one of Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, the great mutation. I'll be doing a lot of classes and some work here on YouTube for you regarding that. I thank you for your support, and I send you love and many blessings.